We know. Hi guys, how are you? Oh, I do see some bold red lips out there tonight. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story, and this is a story of redemption. Nice. So in 1994, if you went to Hillside Elementary School and you were a female or a budding homosexual, you had a crush on Scott. It was synonymous with breathing. You had to do it. It was like part of being alive. And with good reason. He was gorgeous. Blonde hair, blue eyes. He had this cool boy attitude. He wore Umbro soccer shorts and Grateful Dead t-shirts every day. He lived with his single mother in an apartment in our suburban town, which made him kind of mysterious and tragic. He didn't know that he didn't know he was hot, which was really kind of the best thing about him. He was humble. And I was in love with him. I was really, truly in love with him. The kind of love where every Tuesday and Thursday, I would leave my language arts class and I'd walk all the way out of my way to the other side of the building, and I'd always be late for gym class because I knew I would pass Scott in the hallway. And it was just so worth it to me to go that far just to see him, and it'd always be the same. I'd kind of walk by him, and he was so sweet and friendly. He wasn't a dick. He'd always be like, "Hey, Sarah." My name's Laura, but he's always seemed so happy to also see me. My attraction to him was kind of overpowering. I mean, I was in 5th grade. I was 10, 11 years old, and I remember one day at lunch, I scarfed down my peanut butter and banana sandwich and ran outside to go to recess. I remember running outside, and I kind of look across the playground, and across the soccer field is Scott and some of his friends that are playing soccer or something. I just run out, and I find myself running towards him. And it's this animal magnetism has taken over my body. It's if that smoke column thing from Donnie Darko was shooting out of me, but was made of love, and was pulling me towards him, which maybe is what that smoke thing represents. I never really understood that metaphor, frankly. I never really knew what it was in Donnie Darko, but it was pulling me towards him, and I just had this moment of letting go where I was I'm just gonna follow my body, and I'm just I don't know what's gonna happen when I get there, but my body will know what to do when I reach him. And so I just ran right into him and bowled him over. Knocked him to the ground. He didn't even see me coming. I remember him staring up at me "Why did you do that?" Just so confused. And I tried to say something flirty "'Cause you're a big jerk," and ran away. And I was too elated at having touched him, having briefly had my body pressed against him as we traveled through the air together to the ground, to even be embarrassed at the weird and kind of violent thing that I had just done. So the second half of 5th grade, the second semester, maybe was what we called them. I have no recollection. So long ago. I took this new class, and it was called Le Petit Gourmand. It was a cooking class, which it was different from home ec. This was a cooking class taught by Mr. Yarkowski, the shop teacher, who apparently had a catering business on the side, and his true passion was food, not building birdhouses. And Mr. Y is what we called him. He really looked like the Fonz. He was kind of cool, and he had white hair, but it was all swoopy, the Fonz, you know what I mean? Swoopy. And he wore tight white t-shirts, and he'd roll them up, and he just our class, the cooking class was in the shop room with little camper burner, campfire burners, camping burners, set up on the table, and he'd just come and kind of look at us and be the main ingredient is in a Caesar salad. And we'd be I don't know, lettuce? Fucking idiots. They'd be it's anchovies. We're oh my god, food is so cool, to open our eyes to so many things. But the best part about that class was that Scott was in it with me, and we would get paired up together to learn about cooking. And I don't know if you've ever made peanut brittle, But what you have to do is you melt sugar and water and you watch it boil, and you have to wait for the second it turns brown, because if you wait a second too long, it'll burn. You have to start all over again, and it's a very intense process. And that kind of shit brings people together. You know what I mean? Like, it's very intense. The stakes are high. And we shared that together. And we went from being total acquaintances to actual friends. Like, he knew my name by the end of that class, and it was so awesome. And I remember during this time, I had a dream one night where I was just like in the hallway, and Scott just walked up to me and was like, "Hey, Laura, do you want to be my girlfriend?" And I was like, "Yes." "Yeah, Scott, yeah, I want to be your girlfriend." And I woke up from this dream, and it was in those like groggy few moments before I remembered that it was a dream, where like I knew what nirvana was, because I knew what it was like to not want for anything because I had everything. I experienced it so briefly before fully waking up. Because that never really happened. Scott, of course, went on to date this girl Stacy in our class, who Stacy was the only 10-year-old who was not only aware of what French kissing was, she was proficient at it. She was just a good 2 years shy of giving her first blowjob. So that's who Scott dated, not me. And then the next year we went off to middle school. It was a new school. Scott went to an all-boys private school. And he faded away, and like the mid-level popular boys had to rise up to fill the hole that he left. And we moved on bravely. It wasn't really the same, but we moved on. And so a few years later, when I was a junior in high school, so I was like 15, 16, I was at a pizza place in my town with some of my girlfriends, and we were probably talking about Bonnie Bell lip gloss or something, I'm not really sure. We're sitting around, and in walks Scott, who I haven't seen for 5 or 6 years, and it's like definitely him. He looks same piercing blue eyes, same blonde hair. He has kind of like an Eminem thing going on. He's got a little edge to him, like he actually really looked like Eminem. He was hot, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm older now, I'm a little wiser. I've discovered padded bras. I had a lumbar spinal fusion to fix the scoliosis. Like, I'm ready. I am ready for this. This is my moment. Like, yes. And so I went up and started talking to him, and he remembered me. Again, still remember that my name is Laura, and we were kind of like flirting, and I wasn't like choking and swallowing my own tongue. It was like kind of great, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like this is gonna like happen. Like, I felt like, 11-year-old me, I could just feel her inside me somewhere, just celebrating. And so all of a sudden, right outside the pizza place, a fight breaks out between two like 10 or 11-year-old girls. They're like screaming at each other about something, like hitting each other, screaming. There's hair pulling. It's very funny, so we all go outside, and like a crowd forms just to kind of like watch. Like, this is insane. It was so funny. And I'm trying to like get a little closer, try to figure out what they're fighting about. When out of nowhere, Scott walks up and stands in between them, and he starts freestyle rapping in earnest to get them to stop. He's like, yo, little sisters, we should all get along. You should listen to my song. And I just blacked out. Like 5 or 6 years of unrequited love and lust and desire were just flushing out like the soul colonic. It's like when you pour hot liquid into cold glass and it shatters. That's what was happening inside of me, because I no longer had an ounce of romantic feeling towards Scott anymore, because there is nothing less attractive than freestyle rapping at a younger generation to teach them a lesson. But of course, you guys already know that. Thank you.